So Donald Trump has just arrived in Scotland and he's been holding a press conference with Keir Starmer. And one of the questions he was asked was about London and Sadiq Khan, and Trump gave quite a criticism of Sadiq Khan.
Will you visit London during the state visit? Or
I will. I'm not a fan of your mayor.
Why not?
I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London, but a nasty person.
Are you worried?
I think
he's a friend of mine. I'm not sure.
No, I think he's done a terrible job, but I would certainly visit London. Yeah.
And yeah, I think Trump is right. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail in terms of what I think about Donald Trump. I actually think he's been a fairly bit of a disappointment in terms of the amount of people that have been deported under his watch. But this video is about London. This video is about Sadiq Khan and what Khan has done to London. Now, London is a much more dangerous place than it was. And one of the reasons for it is demographics. Now, I know that the Mayor of London obviously doesn't control immigration policy, but Sadiq Khan supports the mass immigration that is the primary reason for why London is so unsafe. So I think it's still worth talking about. Now, if you look at the crime statistics in London, black people are 13% of the population, but they commit 61% of the murders. Now, that is because of immigration. Now, it's not true that black people have always been in Britain. They are either first-generation immigrants or they are the children and grandchildren or great-grandchildren of immigrants, right? They have only been in this country for really ever since World War II. There was only a very small black community before World War II, and even then, those black people weren't indigenous, right? Black people are the product of immigration if they live here, whether they were born here or not. And Sadiq Khan supports the mass immigration of Africans, which has resulted in London being so unsafe. I know that as Mayor of London, he obviously can't do anything about it, but he could at least apply pressure on the government to try and stop the mass immigration and to introduce remigration, because just closing the borders isn't enough, because that's not going to deal with the people that are already here. You have to have remigration to get the people already here that are a problem to leave and go back to their homelands, right? So yeah, Sadiq Khan should be talking about that, but no, he isn't. And one of the reasons he isn't is because he only gets elected because of the ethnic minority communities, right? If you look at the election results, the indigenous population, the English population, the people descended from the people that have always been there, vote Conservative or they vote Reform for Mayor of London. They don't vote for Sadiq Khan. Even though Sadiq Khan is the Mayor of London, he can't really be considered to be the Mayor of an English city or the Mayor of a British city, because the city that he rules over is minority English, and he's elected with a minority support of the English population in that city. You know, it's impossible for a Conservative to be elected Mayor of London. I mean, Boris Johnson was elected in 2008 and 2012, you know, because of his charisma, but that's it, you know. We probably won't have a Conservative elected Mayor of London ever again. And so, and like, you know, I don't even like the Conservatives, but, you know, given Sadiq Khan, I think pretty much anything would be better than him. And like, given his, you know, despite his Muslim background, he's been very supportive of the LGBT stuff, which, I mean, I just don't get this alliance between Muslims and the alphabet community. I mean, it's really just beyond me. I mean, it just seems like a sinister alliance to take over the country, and then once the patriotic English population has been dealt with, then they'll turn on each other. And then Sadiq Khan's also been really soft on crime. Now, obviously, he can't change the demographics of his city, but he could go really hard on stop and search. I mean, that if we're going to have black people in this country, then the only way to stop or at least reduce them from stabbing each other and the white population is to have wide-scale stop and search. Now, I know that stop and search disproportionately targets ethnic minorities, but that doesn't mean that it's racist or discriminatory or anything like that. It disproportionately targets ethnic minorities because ethnic minorities disproportionately commit crimes. I mean, you know, if you're an ethnic minority watching this video and you don't want to be stopped and searched, then don't look suspicious. I mean, you know, it's really not that hard, I think. I mean, if you don't wear a hood, if you're friendly in how you carry yourself, then you're not going to be stopped and searched. And so yeah, it's nothing to do with discrimination. It's just statistics. And the other area where Sadiq Khan is failing is housing. Now, obviously, yes, the key reason for high house prices is immigration, and he could speak about mass immigration and how the population explosion that's resulting from that is causing house prices and rents to skyrocket. But there is still more that he could do. He could have a policy. I mean, it depends whether or not this is in his power, but he could have a policy of housing British citizens first for social housing. I mean, 50% of social housing in London is occupied by foreign nationals. Now, that doesn't even include foreigners that have British citizenship, so the real percentage of foreigners that occupy social housing is far higher. Now, even if that isn't within his control, like, I honestly don't know, then you could at least be saying that we should have a British national first policy for social housing. And yeah, I mean, you know, there's a wider conversation to be had, which is that these foreigners in social housing, I mean, why are they here? Do they really need to be here? I mean, we have a huge housing crisis in this country, and people that aren't even citizens are living in social housing. Now, I don't agree with foreigners being able to acquire British citizenship. I think it defeats the whole point of having British citizenship. I think citizenship should be reserved for people that are ethnically British, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. But if we are going to allow foreigners that don't even have British citizenship to have social housing, then what is the point in British taxpayers even paying for social housing? I mean, I think something like 70% of Somalians live in social housing. I mean, do they really need to be here? That's what I don't get. And if, you know, Sadiq Khan should be saying that they should leave. Now, probably one of the reasons he isn't is because he's Pakistani, right? He himself is foreign to Britain. And the problem with having foreigners in politics is that they're always going to put their own ethnic interests before the nation, right? You know, I think that to vote or to be a representative in the British government, you should have to be British. When I say British, I don't mean having a British passport or believing in British values. I mean being ethnically British, being English, Scottish, Welsh or Irish. That's what it means to be British. And no, I don't believe that you can be English just by being born in England. That is stupid. The English people are the descendants of the Anglo-Saxons and the Celts, not just anyone that happens to be born here. And it does annoy me a little bit when people like Sadiq Khan pretend to be English or pretend to be British. I mean, there's a bit of a contradiction which these foreigners make, which is that they might say, I'm English, and that I'm proud of my Pakistani heritage. I mean, I'm not talking about me, quoting them. But if heritage doesn't mean anything, and heritage doesn't determine what your nationality is, then why are they proud of their heritage being in Pakistan or whatever? It just doesn't make sense. If heritage doesn't mean anything, then they wouldn't say that they're proud to be ethnically Pakistani, or they're proud to be an ethnic minority politician or something. I mean, it's a bit of a contradiction. Yeah, you know, ethnic minorities cannot be English. I mean, it shouldn't have to be said, but here we are. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.